it's me, Rudo, back here with Fire Emblem 3 Houses. I think I meant to say this last episode at the beginning, but then I got caught off guard by all the Randolph execution, which basically just like was like 30% of my brain for that entire episode. I meant to say I looked up the pronunciation of that catapult thing with the boulders, and it's Onager, which I would never have ever expected. So that's exceptional. Good job me for, first of all, pronouncing it wrong. Secondly, for pronouncing it wrong for so long. Why am I not allowed to move here? What the hell? What the hell? What? Is there someone standing here who hasn't loaded in yet? What is that? What is this? Oh yeah, they are. Okay, there we go. That was real spooky.
Hey, you.
Hey! Anyways, embarrassment over. Now I know it's pronounced Onager. Good job, me. Today is our go around the monastery, go around the monastery, talk to people, and get quests day. We've already got and more or less completed one quest. We just have to talk to Anna at the end of it, and I'm pretty sure we already planted all the seeds. We got the green ones because we've got one more decks. Let me just check. Yeah, they're doing great. So it's time to chat, and then I'll be doing all the fishing and junk off. Whoa! Apparently it'll be a very exciting time when I do all the fishing. No. Because holy balls, the pond is glowing, and right in front of where I usually like to cast off. How about that? Henny! And Ash first. Hey, Ash.
The kingdom capital or the imperial capital? I don't know which is the right way.
Neither do I, and people were asking me. It was awful.
If we tried to take on the empire like this, would we really stand a chance?
It would be a bit of a gamble. It seems like the kingdom, recapturing the kingdom is the slow and steady road that will have a higher chance of long-term success.
With House Frauldarius under
if things
attack,
go on longer, more people die.
They probably can't spare many soldiers. On the other hand, if we did manage to take the imperial capital, the war would be over.
Well, you know, I don't know about that because they took the kingdom and capital, and as far as they know, the lord of there, Dimitri, is gone. So, but they haven't won yet, really, right? So, just because we capture Embar doesn't mean like they could just, given they have the entire west half of the continent, they could just kind of like sweep back down, right? I don't know. That's why I want to get the kingdom.
I'm no good at thinking through this kind of complicated stuff.
Neither am I. God damn it, Rhea, why did she appoint me to this? I'll have that fish though. And whatever this is. Earthworm. Annie?
If we can take back the kingdom, we'll recover our soldiers. And some food and supplies too, I bet.
It'll certainly be a lot more than what we have.
Most importantly of all, there are people in the kingdom waiting for our help.
Yes, that also is
Even
true.
His Highness understands that. I'm sure of it. Yet, he wants to take on the Empire despite all that.
I think the amount at which he understands it is overshadowed by the amount at which his carnal desires, his thanatos, are like overpowering his mind right now.
Do you think he just doesn't care about anything other than fighting Edelgard anymore?
Somewhere in there he does, but right now he's got a bit of tunnel vision. That's not true.
But if not, then why?
Because he's into crazy, he's got an eye patch. Look at him. He's a rat man right now. He needs to unratify himself. Well, ratify is an actual word, isn't it?
Greetings, Professor. Nothing to report.
Ah, that's good news. That's good news. I can't handle another invasion right now.
Is everyone setting out on a big campaign? Not exactly. Ah, so you're meeting up with the reinforcements.
Yeah, I don't really know why I'm telling you that, actually. It's supposed to be kind of a secret.
Well, you can leave guarding this place to me. I'll keep an eye out for anything suspicious.
Sure. And hey, if they come over here, probably get a handle on that Onager before they do, right? Because I don't want you getting critted. Anna, I found your mysterious, unbeholdable special thingy.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, friend. That's a huge relief. Now I can finally open up shop. I'll be sure to swing by the monastery again, so keep an eye on the schedule and bring lots of gold. Sure. Are you here now, then, by chance? Ah. And what kind of special things? You could have a bow. Oh. She has all kinds of permabuffs. How many does she have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 9 times 2.5k is 25,000 minus 2. 22,000 gold I would need for all this. Holy balls. And also she just sells master seals limitlessly and elixirs. Ooh. And all this stuff too. Ooh, a crit ring. Oh man, I'm not gonna buy, well, I think these would be probably my priority. I definitely want every single permabuff she can give me. What kind of stuff can I sell? Oh yeah, all this. I could probably sell a bunch of old weapons that I don't intend to use. Like, I don't think I ever really see myself using a blessed bow, even though it looks kind of cool. Let's sell that.
Thanks a bunch.
Just go through and purge our inventory a little bit of some stuff that I don't see myself using. I might use the Devil Axe, because I would probably want to use it on Mercy, right? And she already has pretty sucky defense, so taking 10 damage is like, okay, but enemies are doing like 60 to her, so it's kind of a drop in the bucket. Hammer you can sell for a lot, and I think we have plenty of resources to deal with armored units like the rapier and the magic stuff, so I'm cool selling that. Cursed Ashia sword, only 15 uses. I just want to see it at some point in this playthrough. Cool, and we also have plenty of fish and stuff that I never ended up really selling.
This one,
Oh,
yes.
oh dear. Let's have a look at this. Sell a bit of Wolverine, let's do that. And one bit of bear, some poultry. Berries, I haven't really been selling this stuff more recently because we've been in pretty decent state with money. I didn't even sell the golden one. Ooh, and we don't know what Foldling does yet. I should check that before selling it for sure. Bullhead, sell 8 of those. 6 of these.
I thank you.
Bring our funds up. Ah, yes. We had more money than I thought. An absolute horde of white trout. Jeez. Are there any things of seeds that we have like a lot of? We have a lot of red flower seeds. Let's just sell like 4 of those. And then all the bait. Right, so I still have fishing to do and we'll have a bunch more money then. So I won't buy all that stuff just yet. I'm just getting a lot of money in preparation for when we do end up buying that. Arctic crystals, sweet.
Hey there.
Hey. Alright, so I'll carry on with the talking then, and I'll do all the store management and stuff off camera. I don't think I'll give any of the permabuffs to people off camera though. I might buy them, but I'll show you who I'm gonna give them to probably on camera so that you don't just come back and everyone's like way stronger and you're like, wait a minute, do you know how hot it is there? And the Alel, the Valley of Torment, where the goddess was said to roast her foes? Yeah, it sounds pretty rough actually.
AOL, the Valley of Torment. Oh man, I really do not want to go there.
Why not?
That place is crazy hot. For guys like me, who grew up somewhere cold, man, it's gonna be rough.
I feel you there. Plus, you guys are all wearing your fluffy coats still.
No, I guess that climate will keep our enemies at bay.
Well, less than it'll keep you at bay, considering they're not all from Fergus. But yeah, I can't stand the heat either. You there? Yes, you. Hi.
You help me.
Don't tell anyone, but I'm actually an Almiran merchant, and looking to export some goods from Fodlan and sell them back in my homeland. If you help me out, I'll reward you handsomely. Sure. What kind of rare Fodlan goods do you refer to? Never mind, it's gonna glow on my map somewhere, surely. Rare Fodlan goods, so I'm just gonna steal someone's valuables. Ah, the dining hall. We have some business here, actually, aside from the people I want to talk to. First of all, before I make the food today, I want to see what the best of Fodlan. Which one requires Fodlan D? Or does anyone? Oh, there isn't actually a recipe that requires a Fodlan D, so we can just sell that. Cool. Xanado, treasure fruit, Albanian moose, and goddess messenger. I like how in order to do this, you would need to mix 3 different aspects of the game: the fishing, the greenhousing, and then doing battles to find meat. And so you'd have to go to the rarest ones. It's kind of cool. Not that I intend to acquire all these and do this thing, because it's going to be a tricky thing. They would be tricky things to track down, I think. This is kind of dope, though. I wouldn't mind making this at some point in the future, if I caught a goddess messenger. Charming soup. I say we get some speed. Oh, wait, I'm making it with flame. That's not what it was not my intent. I think I've made food with damn near everyone here. Haven't I? I think, maybe? Maybe not Gilbert, actually. Let's make some fish gratin with Gilbert. I want some speed for this upcoming place. Let's see
I have
it.
some experience with cooking. I'm sure I can aid you in the kitchen.
He says, barely able to contain his excitement. Let me consider whether or not to completely ruin this.
Affects the morale of the troops. An army marches on its stomach.
Ah, that's why they always say your stomach is in your legs.
Oh.
Oh, thank you. Alrighty, and oh, Mercy doesn't like the daffodil stew. Let's make something else for them then. Well, let's find something sweet. Well, berry sauce. I guess then they would both like that. Cool. That was easy. Wait, actually, do I have the resources for this? It's poultry and Albanian berries. Is there anything? Well, I just purged my inventory, and those 2 are easy to come by. So let's do it. Let's finally have a meal with these 2, and hopefully let's see how they worked their problems out. Is it just back to what they used to say, or?
Sitting around a nice meal and eating with friends is the best.
I know you're excited, but you'll choke on your food if you don't take time to chew.
Ah, all is as it should be. That is different than what they used to do. That's very sweet, though. Did Ingrid and Sylvain have one? I can't remember. It's cool that she likes daffodil stew, because Galatea is an offshoot from House Daffodil.
After the fighting's done, we should all go on a gourmet's journey around the world. What say you?
I say hell yeah.
That sounds like fun. What do you think, Professor? Up for a culinary adventure?
Always. As long as there's no mint. That was fun. Hey, Mercy. You were hanging out here last month as well, weren't you?
I don't know about everyone else, but heading to the Empire seems like a good idea to me.
Right, well, I'll be sure to take in everyone's opinions right before I decide to go to the kingdom. No, I think I would definitely like to hear your counsel, because I'm not sure about this at all. Oh, that person's a wyvern knight. Look at them. Cool. Regardless, we gotta go get more troops in Alel first.
The search for Lady Rhea will be so much easier if we can just get the Empire out of the way.
Yes, getting our main enemies out of the way would be helpful.
Dimitri might still pose a problem, though. He seems so fixated on the Imperial capital, but...
Dimitri might still pose a problem is like the subtitle for the latter half of this.
I get the feeling he's not even sure what he wants anymore.
Yeah, I get the feeling you have never been more right in your entire life. Hey, soldier.
It seems some of our friends believe
I wish I
that
had
if we get
a name to
those
call you by that wasn't
reinforcements,
soldier.
we'll be set for provisions too.
But I think it's best not to hold our breath on the food front.
There's no... They didn't actually specifically say they would bring food, did they? They said some supplies, I think, but...
With the added headcount from the reinforcements, there will be even more mouths to feed.
So what you're saying is I should not have sold all of our food just now. Ah, tactics and how they do trip us up sometimes. It's like a warrior talking to a monk over here. Or a bishop, maybe. They won't attack here yet, will they?
To the north of Garreg Mach lie the territories of the Karen and Galatea houses, former lords of the kingdom. Even though their territory is being nibbled at by the Empire, they are still clinging to their neutrality. Since they only display enough force to defend their borders, I suppose the Empire has no incentive to attack them with any real strength.
Oh, hold on now. Oh, I see what you mean. Right, because it's Frauldarius and they're not like quite as... Okay, right. Frauldarius and Galatea are like actively fighting back and counter-invading and stuff.
Instead of reinforcements in the Valley of Torment seems an astute decision to me.
Well, that is Rodrigue, nothing if not.
In that land of oppressive heat, it is unlikely that we will be disturbed.
Except by the heat.
It also means we will need to contend with those harsh conditions ourselves.
Yes.
Best ensure we are well prepared.
I'm gonna need Ingrid's ice magic more than ever. Hey.
These past 5 years, Lord Rodrigue worried for His Highness more than any other.
More than yourself, you mean?
But I wonder what he would say if he saw what has become of Dimitri.
Oh, dang, would probably be the first thing. Let me just bump my axe discreetly. Cool, thank you. Let's have just a strange training session in this little hallway. Hey, Flane, what you looking at there? Looking at the sky? It sure is pretty.
It has been only 5 years, yet so much has changed.
I know! Ash has a goth hairstyle now.
Half of the kingdom has fallen to the Empire. Skirmishes are rife throughout the Alliance. Despite such tumult,
No works really well.
we look upon the same sky, unchanged by the storm happening beneath it.
A storm happening beneath the sky, there's a first. Do you wish you could return those days? It's true, it's just like it was all those years ago. Wait, what? That doesn't make sense. Huh? I don't think that's what she's saying. Do you wish you could return to those days?
Yes, it would be nice, I suppose. Things were simpler then. Or so they seemed to be at the time.
No, they were much simpler. There were no onagers getting crits. Hanging there, Flame. Hopefully the sky will stop being this strange yellow color at some point. Oh, hey! Thanks for looking out! I feel very safe with people like you around. Or you haven't looked like you're having trouble staying on your Pegasus there. Should I call someone? Oh god, oh god! Ah, this place looks much more lively than before, doesn't it? Who has problems? Flame does.
I fear falling asleep at night. I worry that I will not awaken for many years, and that when I do, all of my friends will be gone.
We won't allow that to happen. You'll wake up when morning comes. Try hugging a stuffed animal if you're afraid. Oh. This is kind of hard. I guess probably, I mean, I want to say this, but I think probably this is like, this is like, we are with you, we are friends, and we're not just going to let that, we wouldn't just like, oh, I got to say it, we won't allow that to happen. Okay, good. Because that way it's not just like, oh, that's not going to happen to you, you're being unrealistic. It's like, we care about you enough that we're not just going to let you go away if you fall asleep for a long time, kind of thing. It's overwhelming. I agree.
I have lived in
what are we talking about exactly?
Past 5 years,
everything's overwhelming.
So as not to be discovered by the Empire, to be able to finally return to the monastery again is overwhelming.
I see. You, no, honestly, good shout not going to the monastery again right away, because there was a certain, well, perhaps we should just say there was a rodent infestation.
I hope that our brothers and sisters who ran far away will also return one day.
Provided they're not dead, of course, yeah. That would be great. Hey, Ingrid, are you thinking about Dimitri? 10 feet from him?
It is imperative that we regroup with those who continue to resist.
Yes.
Most importantly, we must join up with the Frauldarius family.
Play a little Agario here. Don't split up just yet.
If we do, our ability to reclaim the kingdom capital is ensured. We should aim for this outcome, rather than focusing our efforts on the imperial capital.
That was my impression, although we should have a more concise roundtable discussion in the Cardinals' room about it at some point, rather than just me walking around everyone and gathering their opinions on a clipboard.
This seems to me the best strategy at present.
Tend to agree.
I feel what His Highness feels. His hatred, his anger, so keenly, as if it were my own. So I find it difficult to oppose his wishes.
I don't know if you should really be like, because I'm angry, I'll do this. I liked a second ago when you were like, I think the best strategy is. Oh, where the hell did I get all this sword? Oh, right, because I'm using the sword of the creator as well. Dimitri, are we feeling like saying more than we did last time? Felix is worried about you, by the way. He's looking behind over his shoulder at me like, yes.
Go away.
Alrighty, I can do that. I'm really good at doing that. In fact, I'm so good at doing that. I'll give you a demonstration. Is this far enough? Is this far enough? Have I got any renown? Yes! Not enough for this thing, but enough for some of these other things. Betwixt all this, I think I want to get Macule up to reason. That's all the renown I have, just 1,000. We'll have a bit more after this next quest. Ah, gold for you. Sort of a duller gold, but in no time it'll be great.
See you again soon.
Of course. That reason will be very helpful for, well, it'll be good for Flayn and Gilbert at the very least. And just anyone else who's into that stuff. Felix hanging out at the training grounds, I'm sure he's just taking out his anger about how Dimitri is right now. Hi.
It seems Arianrome, one of the kingdom's sturdiest fortress cities, has fallen to the Empire.
Yes, well, that's over there in the west, right? Isn't it? I think. It's kind of on the, I wish I had a map in front of me. But it's sort of like just north of one of the rivers that I don't remember the name of. Sort of on the border between Empire and Kingdom, I think.
It looks like Count Rowe didn't resist, and switched sides to the Empire straight away.
Oh, fun!
Repaying all that the royal family has done for him with betrayal. How shameful.
Well, it's hard times. People are making hard choices. A lance tournament today, you say? Or, alright, I guess that's the whole month. No, we just started a new month. Huh. Who would benefit that? I guess we could try Hanet again.
I am steeling myself to see my father again. I can't stand that old man.
Man, so I guess things didn't get better there. And between that and Dimitri, you must be going through a pretty rough patch right now, Felix. I'm sorry to hear that. You really hate him, but he's your father. They're not good options. I don't want to say this, because I don't think that's true. But he's your father is like, I understand why he has problems with him. But he's your father.
That's just biological circumstance.
Lamau.
We may have the same blood, but we've nothing else in common.
Biological circumstance. I'm pitting Annie in this. We'll see how well she does defensive. Oh, did she get her battalion in here? I wonder. They're level 18? Jeez, whoa, sorry about this one. Oh man, I've really never seen her fight with a lance and all armored like this. Oh, right, but it's bad. Oh, she's probably going to time out and lose, isn't she, actually? Ah! Wow, the lance animation looks cool with the heavy armor. Wow! It's wild and funky. Okay, come on. Did she get one more hit after this, please? Or is it 5? Ah! Felix's strength compared to hers is a little higher, but I still feel like they're just going to run out of time. His speed isn't much to speak of either. I mean, I guess let's try Sylvain here. Alright, he's doing okay. He's just not, like, all uber defensy like she is, so he can't just take no damage from this. Well, he's got a fair amount of health, at least. I like how he has to rear the horse up every time before going to it. They're gonna just get sharply stronger though. Oh, this one's also level 18. Cool, skip this then. Burn until we meet again. Whoa. We're getting a little competitive there, aren't you, Sylvain? Alright, we probably want to heal this, right? Because 16, 10, 16, 10, 16. Okay, never mind. We don't need to heal just yet. Wow.
All for our future.
All for our future, Sylvain. And this is semifinals? Okay, he'll be able to handle this. Skip that one. Let's see how strong the last one is. His accuracy has been decent enough that I feel cool with this. Let's just heal him up for assuredness. Yeah! Oh! I'll run! Holy Knight Sylvain has gotten us a silver lance, but the more money is more what I care about, I guess, because that brings us a lot closer to those permabuffs. Is anyone hanging out in the dormitories who is not marked on the map because they're not a story-pertinent character? No! What about in the Star Terrace? I guess they're not really allowed up here, right? To the library, then! Oh wow, there are no interactable people around here, except for the one story character over here, who I'm assuming is Manuela, because I haven't seen her around, and that is her room and all. Is that glowing thing up there the rare Fodlan good that I'm going to acquire? That's in, like, Rhea's office. Is it really cool for me to just take stuff from there? I'm glad Sedith isn't around. He'd be so mad.
Gilbert was a knight to the royal family of Fergus?
Yeah.
What was a man like that doing in Garreg Mach, I wonder?
Well, Fergus has pretty close church ties.
Who knows? Whenever I try to ask about it, he'd change the subject and avoid giving a proper answer.
Is that right? With me, he wouldn't shut up about it. Fly me to the moon.
Yes.
Thank you. Wait, what are you saying? We will save the Archbishop. Oh, cool, thank you. Oh, there sure are a lot of people wandering about the audience chamber when there's no one to have an audience with. Guys, I'm not doing anything in here. I'm the Archbishop. I'm allowed to go in here, I think. I'm acting Archbishop anyways, more or less. What this? Zoltan's Beast Idol. A valuable idol created by the master craftsman Zoltan, who was widely thought to have only made weapons. And I'm just taking this? So here you go and all. I mean, I guess technically I'm trading it, right? Because they're giving me stuff in response.
Nice job.
Thanks for helping me out. Here's a reward. It's a stuffed Nadir bear. Cute, right? This toy is incredibly popular with Elmiran children these days. Feel free to show it off, but don't tell anyone where you got it from. Armored bear stuffy. It's supposed to look like Nadir, is it? Elmiran pine needles and Elmira mercenaries. You're giving me a whole pot of mercenaries? Well, I guess I did give you a pretty valuable thing, but geez, thanks. And 500 renown. Jinkies. That's all the quests and talking we have to do. We've still got a bit of time though, so you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna read these books in the library. Oh my god, there are so many. I wanna! Traveler's Journal, Issue 2, a record consisting largely of the world outside of Fodlan. The author's identity is unknown, but they have clearly experienced these places firsthand. Brigid. An archipelago nested within Fodlan and Dagda. It is a land of plenty that is often heralded... I just kicked my GameCube. Sorry. That is often heralded as the perfect union of the gentle sea and nature's bounty. Both Fodlan and Dagda have long vied to claim this territory as their own. Yes. But they haven't got it yet, have they? Sreng. Sreng was once the name of an enormous peninsula to the north of Fodlan. Today, only the northern half has kept it the moniker, while the southern half now falls under the dominion of the Holy Kingdom of Fergus. Several warlike clans all call this great wasteland home. Certain areas of this region are comprised of rocky desert. Not a fun place to fight. Dusker, a peninsula to the north of Fodlan and the west of Sreng. The people who once inhabited this area were decimated, and it now falls under the dominion of the Holy Kingdom of Fergus. Okay, so this is a recent issue, because that was only 9 years ago or so. The land boasts nothing noteworthy to make it a desirable travel destination, but rumors of valuable minerals waiting to be unearthed abound. Well, I mean, there are some nice mountains. Ogla Mountains, an enormous mountain range somewhat south of central Fodlan. To the west, it forms the border between the Empire and the Kingdom, surrounding Garrigmach and cutting across Empire territory. It is home to many animals and plants that cannot be found elsewhere, as well as a plethora of valuable mineral deposits. And rest in peace, Ogma, who died in my file very quickly. I don't think I kept him till the end in, Shadow Dragon and the Blighted Light. Traveler's Journal Issue 1. Probably should have started with that. A record consisting largely of the world outside of Fodlan. The author's identity, yep, okay. Elmira, a great kingdom to the east of Fodlan. Its territory borders that of the Leicester Alliance, with the precipitous mountain range known as Fodlan's Throat, as acting as the dividing line. Whereas that fortress, Fodlan's Locket, because a locket goes on your throat. Anyways, with the precipitous mountain its people maintain a strong legacy of horsemanship and relish in the thrill of battle. This vast kingdom is rich in fertile prairies, deserts, and mountain ranges. I was under the impression they were more wyvern people, but I guess they can be both. Albania, a continent to the northwest of Fodlan. Oh, I thought it was a region of Fodlan. Its frigid climate is home to numerous rare and valuable species of flora and fauna. However, the human population there is extremely small due to the intense cold and frozen earth, which is unsuitable for growing grains or other food crops. So the berries must be pretty hardy. Morphus. Morphus is the name of a metropolis of magic to the southeast of Fodlan, as well as the boundless desert that surrounds it. In the distant past, it was called the City of Illusion. Thanks to an intricate web of trading routes, rumors of its profound and mysterious magic continue to spread. That's why the plums that are grown there give you such magic. It's weird. I don't notice a lot of parallels to old games with a lot of the names. I'm sure there are many. Dagda, I know there's a character named Dagdar in one of the older ones. I want to say Sacred Stones, but I don't actually know. When I go back and play those ones, I'll know. I'm sure almost all of these are references. Oh, speaking of Dagda, a continent to the southwest of Fodlan. Due to its extreme distance from Fodlan, rumors of this relatively unknown world abound. Some claim it's a tropical rainforest, while others insist it's merely a giant frozen plateau. In truth, this vast continent stretches far into the north and south and supports a wide variety of terrain and climates. Just like Fodlan. Fun. So are these things also going to be volume-based? And I'm going to be... Okay, Book of Saris, got it. Now, part 1, the revelation. The goddess is all things. She is heaven above and the land below. I thought that whole channeling circle said she was always live in heaven. So how can she be heaven? Contradiction! Objection! She is heaven above and the land below. She is eternity incarnate. She is the past, present... This is the present, the past, and the future. Her eyes see all, her ears hear all, her hands receive all. She who is graced with the holy sword of the divine goddess who bore witness to her magnificence is the one called Saros. She is the messenger of the heavens, the bridge between the lands above and below, and her blessings shall bring tidings of peace to all. With the goddess's omnipotence and wisdom to guide her, Saros ensures that her will be done. As the goddess's sword, Saros wards away evil. As the goddess's child, Saros makes emperors of mortals. As the goddess's wings, Saros elevates her people. As the goddess's voice, Saros spreads the words of love. When she isn't killing Nemesis with a knife. That sublime world is entrusted to you. Those emperors are crowned before you. Those wings clear your path. That voice whispers words of trust. And may the blessings of the goddess follow you always. That's nice. This is part 2. The creation. In the beginning, amid the great cloudless ocean, Fodlan came to be. At the end of a long journey, the goddess glimpsed that land and there alighted upon that sacred ground. She breathed life into the world and created all the creatures upon it. By the goddess's hand, plants took root, birds took to the sky, and I almost said admirals. Animals roamed the land. Last of all, she created humanity. When the humans wished for power, she granted it. She gifted them the blessings of the heavens and of the earth. By way of the magical arts, humanity attained great power, yet unaware that great power portends great evil. By the grace of the goddess's divine protection, humanity thrived. Through her blessings, they grew prosperous and their numbers rose. Before long, they became the most powerful creatures in all of Fodlan, except for those F-off hawks. All was well until darkness descended from the north, a darkness that devoured the earth, desecrated the heavens, and threw the world and its inhabitants into a state of chaos. From the north? From Sreng? You're telling me that the super racism people harbor against Strang region and then all the border disputes is a church-ordained thing? Face this evil force, the goddess created a new well of power. She gifted certain chosen individuals with sacred blood, allowing them to wield mystical weapons, crests, and crest weapons, relics, that they may prevail against the darkness. These souls, buoyed by their divine gifts, conquered the evil ones and drove them back to the north. They became to be known as heroes. The heroes experienced unnaturally long lives, persisting for hundreds of years. Even after they breathed their last, the power coursing through their blood remained, leaving an indelible mark upon this world. This power, passed through bloodlines, came to be known as the crests. The mystical weapons they once wielded are now called heroes' relics, and so the legend of a new age was born. The descendants of the heroes sought their ancestors' power and thusly their blood. In time, they amassed crests, relics, land, and wealth, using to set the land aflame with war. Great. The goddess's power, intended to stem the flow of evil, became a tool of destruction, all because of the greed of humanity. The goddess, grieved and heartbroken, hid herself in the heavens from whence she came, instead of fixing anything. The Book of Saros Part 5. Whoa.
What?
I know, right? What? Where's part... Oh god, there's a bunch of records missing, are there? It looks that way, and there's nothing interesting to read on this side. Oh, whoa. Did I read these yet? History of Fodlan. Oh no, I haven't. I'll go back for those. Alright, fine. The Book of Saros Part 5. The 5 Eternal Commandments. Dare not doubt or deny the power of the, or existence of the goddess. Jeez, okay. Dare not speak the goddess's name in vain. Ah, Sothis. That's gonna be a hard one. Dare not disrespect your father, your mother, or any who serve the goddess. Dare not abuse the power gifted to you by the goddess. So what if my father or mother does not serve the goddess? Or doesn't believe in them? Dare not abuse the power gifted by the goddess. Dare not kill, harm, lie, or steal unless such acts are committed by the will of the goddess. How am I supposed to know if... Well, never mind. The goddess cares for and protects all that is beautiful in this world. The goddess will never deny the splendors of love, affection, joy, peace, faith, kindness, temperaments, modesty, or patience. Follow her example, and in doing so, abide her laws. Oh yeah, Sothis. The very picturesque... She's a real beacon of patience, that one, anyway.
Could I trouble you?
Could you? I mean, you could, if you had anything to say, which you don't. Register of Empire Nobles Part 1. A register of prominent noble houses of the Adrestian Empire. This document is expressly for official use by the Church of Saros. Students are forbidden to remove or peruse this documentation. I'm a professor. Yeah. 1179 edition. This is not the year currently, is it? That was the year I went under, isn't it? Oh, right, yeah. Basically. It was the year after. So this is as far as we had it before the war, anyways. House Crestfalx, the most distinguished noble house of the Empire, tracing its roots all the way back to the great Emperor Wilhelm. It has been the governing house of the Empire for 1,100 years. In addition to the first emperor, its lineage is also traced back to Saint Saros herself, which is why generations of emperors are believed to bear the crest of Saros. House Crestfalx resides in Embar, the imperial capital, claiming all of the surrounding territory as its domain. It boasted supreme authority both within the Empire and without until the insurrection of the Seven in 1171, in which much of its power was stripped away by the nobility. Oh yeah, that was not long ago. Wasn't there something about that Ferdinand wouldn't stop talking about? And Linhart was saying that famous people were famous for taking power from previous nobility or something. In recent years, a series of misfortunes has plagued this storied house, and some believe dark clouds hover over the future of the Crestfalx reign. I've got bad news for them. House Ayr, a house of dukes possessing great power within the Empire, second only to House Crestfalx. The head of the house came to occupy the post of Prime Minister, rendering the title a hereditary one thereafter. House Ayr led the insurrection of the Seven, and in many ways holds the true power governing the Empire. Right, okay. Starting to explain why Ferdinand is always so competitive with Edelgard. House Vestra, a house of marquises with a domain existing in the shadow of House Crestfalx, in addition to managing the darker tasks of the Empire. Why would you write that in a register book? It is responsible for the Emperor's periphery affairs, including coordinating things such as ceremonies and rituals, Imperial consorts, and the Imperial Guard. House Vestra was aligned with House Ayr in the insurrection. That insurrection stripped away by the nobility. Oh, okay, so Crestfalx was kind of would have fallen under that. So, oh no, wait. Oh, no, House Crestfalx's power was stripped away by the other nobility. Oh, weird then. Okay. Either way, it's fine and weird that House Vestra was with House Ayr when you consider how close their ties are typically to Crestfalx. Or so I would think anyways, or perhaps that's only on the individual level, if you see what I mean. House Evering, this is Linny's house. A house of counts that has inherited rule over the Empire's domestic affairs, particularly those relating to administration, finance, and the judiciary. It frequently clashes with the ministry of military affairs over these matters. Much of its territory lies in the Ogma Mountains, and as such it enjoys the fruits of a lucrative mining industry. House Burgleys, Minister of Military Affairs. A house of counts that has inherited rule over the Empire's Ministry of Military Affairs. It commands all of the armies that do not directly belong to the Emperor. During times of war, the head of the house becomes the Imperial Army's commander-in-chief. Their territory encompasses most of the Empire's main breadbasket, the Gronder Field. It commands all the armies that do not directly belong to the Emperor. So does that mean there's any chance we could take one? Or convince one? House Varley, Burning Bear, a house of counts that has inherited rule over the Empire's Ministry of Religion, whose main responsibility is to maintain amiable relations with the Church of Ceres. However, due to the estrangement of the Church from the Empire in recent years, it is now more involved with the judiciary, causing political strife with the Ministry of the Interior. Yes, and this is another thing of Empire nobles. Here we go. Okay. What Empire nobles have we not spoken of yet? Just trying to think of who else is in the Empire. Who is of a noble house? Oh, well, SR. House SR, Hanneman. Well, let's have a look. House Girth, right, okay, oh, sorry, Garrett. Not Girth. A house of dukes that has inherited rule over the Empire's Ministry of the Exterior. Okay, so there is actually one called the Ministry of the Interior. Then, I thought the Varley one was being vague. Diplomacy, foreign relations, and relations between various provinces in the capital fall under its purview. Doing a shit job, House Garrett! Foreign relations are terrible, and diplomacy has failed. It worked hard to secure the ceasefires that ended both the Brigid and Dagda campaigns. Though complicit in the insurrection, it remains distant from the associated houses. House Arundel, right. Formerly a minor noble of House of the Empire, as head of the house when Volkhard's younger sister became betrothed to Emperor Ionius the Ninth, which is whom Edelgard took power from. Volkhard was granted the title of Lord Arundel. Oh, well that explains why Arundel is Edelgard's uncle. Having worked closely with House Eyre, House Arundel is seen as one of the chief instigators of the insurrection of the Seven. In other words, maybe not Edelgard's best friend. House Rim, a house of imperial viscounts. Resisting Emperor Ionius's the Ninth's policy of power centralization, it set out to join the alliance and secure independence from the Empire, but was unable to overcome the imperial army's intervention. In the aftermath, the house's main genetic line was wiped out. Its current head of a house is an adoptee. Most interesting. House Nouvelle. Ah, Constance is of House Nouvelle, right? She's a DLC character whom we haven't met in this run because she's a DLC character. The House of Imperial Viscounts with territory on the western coast of the Empire centered around its namesake harbor city of Nouvelle. The house flourished thanks to commerce with Dagda, Albania, Brigid, and other territories. Even still, it fell to ruin in 1175 after permitting to the combined invading forces of the Dagda and Brigid armies to make landfall. House Ox, as in Monica Von. A house of imperial barons. Its territory occupies the northern half of the western peninsula known as Fodlan's Fangs. They also have a propensity for covering themselves in clown makeup. The head of the house was lost to the Dagda and Brigid War. Oh, poor Monica. That's maybe why she took such a sharp turn. Well, no, I guess that actually wasn't actually Monica. Right. Who knows what happened to Monica? Dead, probably. House Bartels. Mercy's former house. A house of imperial barons. Highly ambitious, it sought out and acquired several crests for its bloodline. In 1176, many members, including the head of the house, died under unexplained circumstances. The deed was attributed to the heir, Emil. Oh, right, okay, sorry. I thought Emil was House Shrim, somehow. As his whereabouts are unknown, leadership of the house fell into a distant relative. Right, so father of Bartels, who was murdered by Emil, was the one who was the absolute worst, and all that stuff with Mercedes. Register of Kingdom nobles, and Alliance nobles, there's only one part for each. A register of prominent noble houses of the Leicester Alliance. This document is right, okay. House Regan, the leading house of the Leicester Alliance and descendants of one of the 10 elites. In the Crescent Moon War of 881, they spearheaded the move toward independence from the kingdom, as well as establishment of a republic by its former vassals. They've held the esteemed responsibility of leading the Alliance Round Table ever since. The position of this House of Dukes relies on the noble rank bestowed upon it by the kingdom well before the Alliance's founding. It's kind of weird. The current Duke Regan's heir, Godfrey, died in an accident while on duty. While he did leave behind a surviving daughter, she is presently unaccounted for. Hence why it's Claude time! House Goneril, descendants of one of the 10 elites. It is a military house that is chiefly tasked with military strikes and defense against the Almiran army, mostly due to its territory's position in the east. Lord Holst, the next head of the house, is widely renowned as the Alliance's bravest general. Is he even still kicking nowadays? House Ordelia, a house of counts with land in the east of the Leicester territory. In 1167, it was involved in House Shrim's rebellion, and the Empire retaliated by repeatedly meddling in the house's internal affairs, leading to a sharp decline in its noble standing. Oh, that's why Lysithia's got all that stuff to do on her plate. House Gloucester, descendants of the 10 elites and wearer of bad haircuts. This house of counts hails from the southern Leicester territory. The current head of the house is ambitious, excels at public relations, and has an influential voice among the 5 noble families with voting rights at the Leicester Alliance Roundtable, second only to House Regan. That also explains a bit of Lawrence's demeanor. House Edmund, a house of margraves with land in the north of the Leicester territory. Its beneficial trade policies, emphasizing fair use of its personal harbors, have awarded the house a great deal of clout, to such a degree that it was eventually accepted into the ranks of the 5 great lords of the Alliance. The current head of house is a renowned orator. Again, very funny when you consider Marianne. House Daphne, descendants of one of the 10 elites and formerly among the 5 great lords of the Alliance. It lost much power due to internal discord. For the last several generations, no head of House Daphne has borne a crest. In spite of this, it still maintains its status as a noble family. Likewise with Galatea, which split off from Daphne. Register Kingdom nobles. Yes. House Blythed. This house claims Blythed of the Ten Elites as its ancestor. It has ruled the kingdom for over 400 years, ever since Lugh, the King of Lions, claimed victory in the War of the Eagle and Lion in 751. This secured the kingdom's independence from the Adrestian Empire, after which Lugh was crowned as its inaugural king by the Church of Seros. House Blythed resides in Ferdiad, the kingdom capital, claiming all of the surrounding territory as its domain, and many of the fiefdoms in the north of Fodlan as its vassals. With the passing of King Lambert in 1176, his older brother Grand Duke Rufus of Itha assumed the burden of ruling the kingdom in the young crown prince's stead. Even still, strife and disorder continued to plague the land, because that man was irresponsible as all hell. You know what? With that information, I'm starting to understand why Cornelia was able to easily convince people that Dimitri murdered him, because if I understand that all she really said was they didn't really like each other, but now knowing that he took over for Dimitri, because Dimitri was like 15, that makes a lot of sense. Not that I think Dimitri would actually want to like rip power away from him, but I understand why other people would think that, given that Rufus died. House Frauldarius, this house of dukes claims Frauldarius as the Ten Elites as its ancestor. It is one of the most ancient houses on record, even amongst kingdom nobility. It is said that Kaifon, the sworn friend of Lugh, the King of Lions, was also related to the hero Frauldarius. This place was just known as the Shield of Fergus. This house of Margraves claims Gautier of the Ten Elites as its ancestor. Its territory lies in the northernmost reaches of the kingdom. As such, it has safeguarded the kingdom territory against incursions by the people of the String region for over 200 years. House Karen. This House of Counts claims Karen of the Ten Elites as its ancestor. Tasked with negotiating between the resistance armies and the Church of Seros during the War of the Eagle and Lion, the head of House Karen continues the tradition of a ceremonial competition with the kingdom. Does it now? Within the kingdom, sorry. Of no relation to the Battle of the Eagle and Lion, I guess. House Galatea. When House Daphne, once a cornerstone of the Leicester Alliance, was divided in two over an inheritance feud, half of them defected to Fergus and established House Galatea, which was granted the noble title of Count. Much of its territory consists of a frigid wasteland where a severe famine occurred in the early 1170s. Not long ago. House Rowe, a noble house that once held territory in northern... It was Lord Gwendel's daughter that Sylvain, to use Ingrid's words, relentlessly tried to involve himself with. I don't remember where Gwendel is from. A noble house that once held territory in the Northern Empire. When the fortress city of Aryan Road was constructed within its domain, it revolted against the Empire and pledged the entirety of its territory, including Aryan Road, to the Holy Kingdom of Fergus. For this contribution, it was awarded the noble title of Count, so it is quite close to the Empire border. And House Clayman, I forget. This house originally held no more than a lordship over a single castle in the west of the kingdom, but it was awarded the noble title of Viscount for its great success in the subjugation of Dusker region in 1176. Afterwards, it was granted the Dusker region as its feudal estate. Okay, I do remember something about that coming out when we were trying to peacefully take down those Dusker rebels. Which leaves our last two books here as the History of Fodlan, parts 1 and 2, which I will read from part 1 this time. Under the tyranny of ruthless disorder, the people endured a long period of suffering. The vile nemesis who proclaimed himself the king of liberation delighted in war and bloodshed. Rather than rebelling against his persecution, the people of Fodlan fell to his depths in a mad scramble to attain power through murder and theft. 41 years before the founding of the Adrestian Empire, St. Seros appeared in the land of Enbar, and through the many unfathomable miracles she performed, spread light across the land. In doing so, she joined the shattered hearts of the purest people of Fodlan, who went on to form the Holy Church of Seros. Imperial Year 1, the founding of the Adrestian Empire. In the first year of our calendar, the glorious Adrestian Empire was founded. Its name was gifted by an oracle, and its future blessed by the goddess. Was there a year of this here? Because whenever this was written, they apparently still had a high opinion of the Adrestian Empire, which is not the way of things in recent years, so I wouldn't think they would describe it as glorious in a church text. Anyways, its name was gifted by an oracle and its future blessed by the goddess. Its capital, Enbar, was chosen to govern the southern reaches of Fodlan, where the divine Saint Seros also lent her power. Imperial Year 32, the War of Heroes. Wilhelm Paul Crestfalx, the inaugural Adrestian emperor, raised an army in pursuit of the unification of Fodlan. With his might, he hunted and destroyed in any house's territory that dared to seek more power. Imperial Year 46, the Battle of Gronder. An intense battle erupted on Gronder Field where the houses that were allied with Nemesis and the Imperial forces of the Adrestian Empire clashed. There, the Imperial forces emerged victorious. This is when... Oh no, this wouldn't have been when Seros killed Nemesis, because that happens on the Tailtean Plains, does it not? Which is more kingdomy. Imperial Year 91, Battle of Tailtean. Here we are. The houses that were allied with Nemesis once again faced off against the Imperial forces, this time at Tailtean Plains. Or is it Tailtean? I can't remember. There, the evil Nemesis finally fell and the Empire secured a momentous victory. But that man lived for a long time, so obviously he had crest power involved with him, or something similar, right? Which would mean he was granted that by the goddess, and they are very careful about glossing over that here, or so it seems to me, unless they mentioned it already. Imperial Year 98, the War of Heroes ends. Oh, that was going on this whole time? Jeez. the successor to great Emperor Wilhelm I, Lycaon I, succumbed to sudden illness. The empire, which ruled over the majority of Fodlan, took this opportunity to put an end to the seemingly endless fighting. Well done them. Imperial year 721. Bit of a skip there. The First Mach War. The Dagdan army invaded from across the sea. Though the Imperial forces resisted the attack and drove off the enemy, the land of Mach... Oh, I guess it would be Mach, as in Garrig. Which, isn't that like Welsh or Scottish Gaelic for like the far stone or something like that? Sounds more Scottish than Welsh. The land of Mach sustained considerable damage. Imperial year 728, the invasion of Brigid. Great. We're just... Oh, okay, that was a retaliation thing because Dagda invaded them first, and Brigid is apparently a friend of Dagda, which I did not know, or at least at some point was. The Empire invaded the Brigid Archipelago, a land occupied by allies of Dagda. As penance for their refusal to surrender, the people of Brigid were relegated to a life of imperial subjugation, which we are still seeing the effects of to this day. Imperial year 731, the invasion of Dagda. With the boon of a strong foothold in Brigid, the Empire mounted a large-scale invasion of Dagda. However, the fortunes of war were not on their side, and their attack failed. Imperial year 747, the Fergus rebellion. Lug, a descendant of one of the houses that first quarreled with the Empire, raised an army, like that was on the side of Nemesis then, raised an army to demand independence, pulling the land of Fergus into a fierce rebellion. This clash came to be known as the War of the Eagle and Lion. Imperial year 751, the founding of the Holy Kingdom of Fergus. Lug and his resistance army were victorious over Imperial forces. The Holy Church of Saros mediated between the two, and Fergus secured its hard-won independence as the Holy Kingdom of Fergus. Which is weird that then they would be so church-oriented when they used to be supporting Nemesis, but times change. Imperial year 801, the Leicester Rebellion. That was how long ago? 50 years after. A rebellion broke out in the imperial lands of Leicester, which the Imperial army was unable to suppress. The Holy Kingdom, viewing the uprising as an opportunity to increase its own political sway, occupied the Leicester region, formally declaring it as a territory of Fergus. And the Empire didn't have anything to say about that? Imperial year 861, Fergus divided. Following the death of King Claus I, 3 princes became archdukes and split the Holy Kingdom of Fergus that they may rule over it as 3 separate territories. Imperial year 881, the Crescent Moon War. The archduke ruling over the Leicester region of the kingdom succumbed to illness. The lords of the Leicester lands refused to acknowledge the next archduke in line, instead plotting to rule jointly as an alliance. Imperial year 901, the founding of the Leicester Alliance. The Leicester Alliance was officially formed after the subjugation of hostile nobles and the removal of all opposing forces in the regions of Fergus. An influential figure from the outset, Duke Regan, was inarguably the heart of the newly formed alliance. I guess people were just tired of all these wars and divisions at this point. They were just like, fine, you can have the Leicester Alliance. We don't want it. Imperial year 961, the Almiran invasion. The great eastern nation of Almira crossed through Fodlan's throat and invaded Alliance territory. The Empire dispatched troops in order to help conquer this threat, and the attackers were just barely driven off. Oh, interesting. I guess maybe the Empire would prefer Leicester take it than Almira, because Almira is known to be very strong. Imperial year 1101, the construction of Odlin's Locket. To defend against future Almiran invasions, the Alliance, the Kingdom, and the Empire joined their efforts and resources to reconstruct the indomitable fort known as Fodlan's Locket. Weird that that's the most recent piece of history we have, is us being all hunky-dory with each other. Oh no, I guess there's a bit of other information here that does not same exactly hunky-dory. Well, that was a lot of fun. I don't know if that was stuff is interesting to anyone else. I'm not much of a history buff, but when it's cool in a game like this that's so character-driven, because then you get to see how the history shapes the characters. Like, you see why the histories of these houses are relevant to the characters' current goals and arcs, and even the points where it's a little contradictory, like how the head of House Edmund is a skilled orator. And then you look at Marianne. That's actually almost kind of an interesting question. I guess which character and this is like most affected by the history of their house and their culture, and which character is the least? I mean, I suppose the least would be, I guess, I was gonna say Edelgard because she doesn't care much for tradition, but also she is following in some old traditions of the Empire being a force into just going out and subjugating everything around it, although her reasons are a little less, they're not just like, I want to grow the Empire. She has other reasons. I think probably Claude is among the least interested in his heritage, partially because his heritage is divided among a number of areas, so he just wants to strengthen ties with people regardless of all that history. He's just like, forget it, history's stupid. I want now to be different. I mean, he doesn't say history's stupid. I'm pretty sure he's a history buff as well. He'd have to be to understand as much as he does. And the characters most affected by their lineage, I guess that would be someone like Ferdinand, right? He's so intent on carrying on the Eyre's name as like the advisor to House Crestfalx and the one who's always like challenging it at every step. And you can see how negatively that affected him when right before I fell into a coma, he was like panicking because his house got stripped of its title and all. Very curious thoughts. And I think that's one of the cool things about this story is how much diversity there is in whether characters care about their own worlds, their own world's past. to say nothing of their own actual personal goals and experiences. So that was quite cool to read into a bit of that. I'm glad I did it, and I had a bit of time to do it in an episode. So next episode, in fact, it will be us doing the paralogue Weather Vanes of Fodlan, where we're going to hopefully go get Annette's Heroes Relic, which will be a pretty sweet addition to her arsenal. I'm not even sure where I would put it, though. I might actually have to give it to someone else. I might give it to Mercy. I remember what it is, I think. Well, we'll see about that when the time comes, won't we? And by my recollection, that one is a bit like the one in Sylvain's paralogue in the Academy phase, where it's like you go into a sort of city area and you're helping take down a bunch of bandits that have captured areas. But we shall see next time, won't we? But before that, I've got a bit of fishing to do off camera and stuff. So I shall leave things off right there, and I shall thank you also for bearing with me through that if you did. I hope that wasn't too dull and boring for you. It's probably stuff you could have read on the wiki, but I like reading it from here because there's like an unreliable narrator thing going on, right? Where the church does not report everything entirely accurately. There's obvious bias in some of this writing. Either hoozles. That will be where I will be out of here for now, so thank you very much for coming around. I just punched my microphone, sorry. Admiral's gonna be out of here now. Peace! Alright, well, let's give this a try. 4 and 4 here brings them down to a number I already calculated, so I'm not gonna calculate it again, I don't think. 1, 2! Thank God you got them both. Legend Marcia. Okay. Right now, as you can see, as dynamically how her range is affected, and your